Well, folks, it is finally May 5th, which means we've got ourselves a brand new Blitz meta starting this very weekend. So which heroes look to be positioned to lead the charge to the top tables? Let's chat. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. That's right, talking the new Blitz meta with Oldhim and Icelander gone as of today, May 5th. What does the Blitz meta look like? What do I think it looks like? So you can see the image for the discussion tonight. No, I'm not going to do like one of those piecemeal go through it things. This isn't, a tier list in the strictest sense, but it's very definitely a tier group list. So tonight's discussion is based upon, and I also doing it all at one time because I'm going to be popping around because it's all very dependent, in my opinion, on a couple things, right? First off, with Icelander leaving, I very much believe that Icelander was one of the major things holding Kassai back. Kassai actually did okay into Oldhim. He obviously was probably favored in that, but she could do okay. But it was very hard for Kassai to do anything with Icelander. And Kassai is very crazy good. We've been talking about her a lot in the last 2 weeks for obvious reasons. So I think Kassai moves to the top. I also think Kassai, so Kano will be the number one ranked hero for a reason. And I think he stays there. And in fact, he probably even gets a little better because I think that a good number of the Icelander players will move into him. It just makes sense. They've got Stormstriders already and all that sort of stuff. So Kano can absolutely just do things in Blitz. No secret there. So I very much see Kassai and Kano leading the way. But Chane can also output a crazy amount of damage. He, again, is someone who was very much held back by Icelander. And with her gone, I think it removes a lot of obstacles for him as well. Now, Prism's someone who's been doing extremely well lately. I also think that, aside from the fact that she's just good and people have been kind of remembering that Spectre is a thing, I think people are also kind of ramping up for Dusk Till Dawn. So I think you're going to see a lot of more people really putting effort into getting Prism to work. And also, right, with Oldhim leaving, Prism, changes, right? Although she was actually pretty okay there, to be fair. But I do think that you're going to see a lot of movement into Prism as well. And then people are really starting to, especially with the performance last weekend at Pro Tour, and granted that was CC, but Lexi can just sometimes throw up like low 20s in damage. And that's kind of good in this format. So makes complete sense. So those are whom I see right now as being the top contenders. I also do want to speak specifically to that young Lexi list with Shiver. There's actually two versions. There's a Shiver version and a Death Dealer version, but it's very Ice Shock Charmers focused. You just land 1 or 2 points, but then you just Shock Charmer pump it, and all of a sudden they've got 7 Frostbites. That deck is very, very interesting because it usually ends up down about 10 health and then just shuts the opponent down. There's not a lot they can do about it. Deck's very, very, very good. So if that deck can figure out how to get through Prism, which is, again, that's why I say it's all kind of related, I think it's very, very interesting. See how it'll play out. All right, so let's move over to the In the Wings discussion. So I really do believe that Emperor is very, very good. I think the only thing that was holding him back was the Wizards. Now, we only lost one of said wizard, and like I said, I think Kano will even be played more. So I think that's why that is why I have the Emperor in the wings there, is because he still has a really bad matchup against arguably one of the more popular and certainly one of the strongest heroes in the format. That said, he has one less really, really bad matchup, and the Emperor is really good unless he runs up against wizards. That's pretty much it. I do have yet to see really how the Emperor is able to handle Prism, all in all. He's got a couple poppers in there. I do think that there's an argument that people could skew to even like a freewheeling Renegades in Blitz for him if he needs the extra popper. But we'll see what the smart kids do with that. I know that there's a lot of people who've really been working on him, and I really believe he's ready to explode. Dash, this one I realize may be controversial in terms of why it's down in the wings. But realistically, I think Dash actually got a little worse, but only a little, only a little. But I think if you look at, again, who I have in the top contenders with the exception of Lexi, and then obviously Kano's a different class, right? But you can, I think Chane has a bad matchup versus Dash, but Kassai has a fantastic one versus Dash. It's very easy to fatigue her out. I think Prism can handle Dash pretty well between your ALS shutdowns and yeah, it's just I think Prism can handle Dash pretty well. Rhinar, I think, can just do Rhinar things. I admit that he didn't perform as well in the last season as I thought he would. I mean, that's on me. That, you know, there's wishes and hopes and dreams, and then there's data, so fair enough. But he can still just do crazy things. And then Briar, I have now in the wings because Icelander's leaving or is gone. And again, it's kind of the Runeblade. The Runeblades had a really hard time with Icelander, with how many cards they had to play and resource management and all that. So I think Briar's someone to, you know, I'm talking specifically like a CMH list. I've seen some other cheeky lists out there, but I still think the Force of Nature CMH thing is like when that goes off, that's backbreaking. And if they can get it to line up in Blitz, gets game over. All right, now let's go down to the close watchers. So Azalea I have in there primarily because I haven't, again, sometimes she can just like throw a dominated 15, 18 arrow. It can absolutely happen. More often like 12, but still, it can happen. That said, I haven't been, when she runs up against people with armor who are able to really deflect one of those arrows that they spent two turns setting up for, it really hurts. Plus, you know, her against like a ranger problem against Prism, who I do expect again to be popular. I think Azalea probably struggles because you've got ALS, right? Arclight Sentinel for Prism as well, which I think really gets in Azalea's way, and I don't have too many problems with her on Kassai overall. Yoji. Why the heck do I have Yoji on there? Primarily because these Yoji fatigue decks that are flying around right now, I actually have one I've been piloting. It's actually pretty good, right? And we just lost Oldhim, and I think a lot of those players could port over. I don't think Yoji's as good as Oldhim. I don't think anyone's trying to make that claim, but it's still pretty good, and it's kind of the play style those folks liked. So I think that you'll get some folks moving into Yoji, and a lot of those are very good players who tactically know what they're doing. And I think Yoji's got the stuff to do it. So, I mean, he can out fatigue a lot of players, okay? Or a lot of different heroes. And then Jeremiah on this one. So Jeremiah got she goose-egged the last skirmish season. I completely grant that. But I still think she's good. I really do. If you run up against players who know how to pitch stack their rakes, and they can really ruin your day. Now, again, I think she's a close watcher because she still has bad matchups. I mean, that's just the truth. If you run up against somebody like a girl like a Yoji, well, actually, I mean, Popper, yeah, if they get the right dragons out. But I'm making the argument of why I think Jeremiah is a close watcher in this format. She also can bring in that really, the Arcane from Burn Them All or Azalea as it may be. Those do combine, and only 20 health. Like if you get those out early, people can take pings. Maybe they didn't even sit down with AB. Usually you should sit down with one AB versus her, I think, but it absolutely is a thing. So ultimately, I do think Kano and Kassai probably ruled the day. But the Prism decks out there, there's two builds kind of that I've been seeing. There's kind of your more traditional, the Everfest auras, right? The Everfest Spectra ones that are all blue. They all drop for 0. And then using some of the new cool tricks from Dynasty, right? Was it Phantasmal Symbiosis? That's not the right one. But it's the one that's a yellow for 6 Phantasmal, and when it pops, they get a Spectral Shield. That's a really cool build. You've got just normal standard War Tune, Erudition, go, 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 or some sort of combined list. And very, very impressed with what Prism can do. So that's pretty much my take. Hopefully you've been commenting as we've been going, letting me know if you agree or disagree. I don't think it's appropriate yet to do a strict tier list like Kassai will always beat this person. I don't think that's appropriate yet, but I do think that the hierarchy is pretty much there. What's going to be interesting to see is, for example, my Kassai list, I would really like to run 8 blues, but I'm running 10 blues right now because of Icelander. I'm going to keep that because I expect Kano. So that does, change your damage output a little bit, which absolutely does matter in this format. So it'll be interesting to see how some of the other heroes do respond to that, because Kano's probably top dog, probably, with Kassai very, very close second, Prism right up there. And then we'll see with the movement and the learnings from this last weekend where Lexi ends up. So anyway, like I said, let me know what you all are thinking. I'd love to hear your feedback. But at the very least, it's a brand new meta. Pretty exciting to see where everything lands up. So let me know your thoughts. If nothing else, folks, thanks for joining. Go Commando.